the women here are successful and happy in other aspects of their lives, but are feeling frustrated, disappointed, or disillusioned about their love lives. And I wonder what advice you would offer to a woman who feels this way.
Well, one of the biggest challenges today for women is finding a balance within themselves of what we can call the Mars and Venus sides, the masculine energies and the feminine energies. And by that, when I talked about this 20 years ago, that was rather abstract for some people. But now it's very concrete because we're really talking about aspects of who we are according to how our brains are different parts of our brain, accessing different parts of our brain, and being under the influence of certain hormonal balance states. So let's say when your testosterone levels are higher, you're more in your masculine energies. That's being goal-oriented, that's being assertive, that's being basically problem-solving all the time. And this is what I see happening for women a lot, is they tend to go too far to their masculine side and neglect their feminine side, and that has more to do with the relationship aspect. There's one, the task-oriented aspect of life, solving problems, making money, fixing things, getting things done. And then the other side of life is the quality of relationships. What do you think? What do I think? How do I feel? How do you feel? What are you wearing today? What are you eating today? It's a more nurturing side of who we are. And these are biological differences between men and women, in that men become more stressed when they are experiencing more of the female hormones, and women become more stressed when they're experiencing more of the masculine hormones. It's not that masculine hormones are bad for women. It's just that if you go out of balance, then your stress levels go up, your mood is affected, your sense of well-being is affected, your ability to appreciate what you have in the moment is diminished when your body's not making the proper balance of female hormones, which according to what stage of life you're at, that will change. But we're talking about estrogen and progesterone levels, the balance between those two hormones. And we're also talking about a very important hormone which affects women's well-being, which is called oxytocin. And oxytocin is the hormone that, combined with estrogen, that makes women exude a presence of self-assuredness, an appreciation for what is in front of them, a sense of grace, a sense of love, a radiance. And whenever a woman is radiating love, she is attracting particularly the right man to her. So there's actually a biological basis of being attractive. You know, men don't figure out who am I most attracted to. Certainly we're kind of hypnotized by the media as to what the right woman looks like. But that's dispelled very quickly. It's the actual woman being authentic will attract certain men, the right men, into her life. And that has a hormonal balance as well.
Do you feel like this tendency for women to get a little more into the masculine side is in part because of so many women being out there in their careers, and perhaps they have to operate a little bit more in what might feel like or seem like their masculine energy there, and while that might work well there, it doesn't translate as well into their interpersonal relationships?
Well, that's a very profound statement. I mean, it really is true, is that when you're very good at getting things done on your own, you have a strong sense of self-sufficiency and independence. That ability to feel fulfilled and be independent can also be repellent to a man who's willing to make a commitment, who has a sense of security. It can be very attractive to men who feel insecure. Well, here's an independent woman, you know, I don't have to work hard to make her happy. But these men typically don't commit. They tend to, and also after a while women are not attracted to them either because there's a sense of insecurity and neediness that he exhibits. He'll tend to be attracted to an independent woman. And so it's nothing wrong with being independent as long as it is balanced by a part of you that's in touch with the ability to appreciate having a man in your life. So let's say analyze that feeling of appreciation. You could prefer to go left as opposed to going right, and you'd appreciate that opportunity. If you really, really want to go left and right, then you're really going to appreciate that. And if you need something, you appreciate it even more. And this is the aspect that goes along with estrogen. Estrogen gets us in touch with what we need. As a matter of fact, when estrogen levels naturally reach their peak during a woman's cycling, that's when she finds men most attractive. And that's when men find her most attractive. That's at a time of fertility for her. Basically, it doesn't happen all the time. It's a cycle. But that consciousness that goes along with feeling vulnerable, which means that I depend on others, I need others, it's deeper than I would like to be with a man. It would be nice to have a man in my life. Wouldn't that be fun to have a man in my life? As opposed to being in touch with a part of us that needs love. We all need love. And men need love too. Women need love. It's just that women, due to their hormonal nature, have the potential to be more aware of the feeling of that need for love. And when they're feeling that need for love, and at the same time they're feeling assured that they can get the love they need, that would be more their independent side, balancing it, then they become most attractive to men. And I understand as I express this, that's very confusing to many women, because neediness is a turnoff to women, and it's a huge turnoff to men as well. Nobody wants to be really in a relationship with somebody who's too needy. But needing someone is different from needy. When you need something and you get it, you're really, really happy. There's this wave of happiness that you have. So to be in touch with your needs is to be in touch actually with the feminine side of you. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're needy. If you're only in touch with the female side, then you're going to be needy because you feel powerless to get what you need. So there's a balance that we have to strike. And it's more difficult today than ever before in history. And the reason for that, we can look at a lot of sociological reasons, one simply being that women have the opportunities to be more expressive of their masculine side. They can be more independent and so forth according to society. And two, society encourages that. And our society today often values masculine activities more than feminine activities. So those are sort of the mundane pressures to be more masculine for women. But there's another reason for that too, is that there's a shift in consciousness, really an elevation of consciousness, a higher consciousness that we have the potential to access today. There could be many, many reasons for it, but the reality is, I have grandchildren. They're much brighter and smarter than I was when I was growing up. My children were. There's just a greater awareness that we have today, greater knowledge, greater consciousness, greater awareness, greater potential for that. And you could look at in terms of a spiritual consciousness, because as spirits, we're not masculine or feminine. But we're in these bodies that have masculine and feminine hormones and brain differences and so forth. And we have to respect the body. But at the same time, on a level of consciousness, we are both masculine and feminine. So in a sense, we're perfectly androgynous in our spiritual self. One aspect of who we are is masculine and feminine. And now we have a society that allows us to be more whole. And so and women are encouraged to be more whole. It's just that encouragement tends to push them too far to expressing the masculine, and it doesn't support the feminine as well. And I think part of my whole message, which has been so helpful for men to understand women and for women to understand men, is to define very clearly those two sides of us so that we can be supportive of both sides and make sure that somebody doesn't get left out.